Okay, we're in our third week of the class, and the class is going to last 6 weeks, so we've got 3 more weeks after this. Today, what I want to focus on, and I'm glad Logan set it up for 8-ball, I'm going to do a few little things before we get into some of the rules and strategy of the game. And I know some of you are very familiar with international rules. I know Logan is. But let's go through from the beginning, and I want to make sure that before you graduate from this class, that you have all the rules of the international game down. Because who knows? A lot of you are going to play in leagues, you're going to play in tournaments, and the like. But also today, what I want to focus on is position play, too. I want to talk about probably one of the most important things when you talk about position is something we call playing into the line of the next shot. Let me give you a few basic examples. Let's say you're winning a game of 8-ball and you're in a position like this. There's only 2 balls left on the table. You grab these shots. Now, let me actually read the quote because I think you'll kind of like this. And you notice on my handouts I'll have a quote each week. Whenever possible, play position into the line of your next shot. Now, what exactly does that mean to play into the line? All right, say you have a shot with a slight angle to that side. How would I play position on the 8 from here?
Top right.
Top right. Okay. Now, the reason why we want to use top, and I really don't need too much right because you can't see it, but I had a little bit of angle. Okay. So I'm going to hit the rail probably somewhere right here, and the cue ball is going to slide towards the 8. That's called into the line of the next shot. So it's almost impossible to miss position here. All I have to do is hit a little high ball like that. Notice how the cue ball hit the rail and comes towards the 8. Now, a lot of people, when they have a shot like this, will do something like this. They'll think, oh, I'll just kind of stun it over by the 8. Well, look at the margin for error. If I come across the line, there's only this much room, right, to play position. And you can still get position that way, but it becomes a lot more difficult. See, if I overran that to here, I'd have a tough shot. If I came up short, I would be right there. That's a huge strategy that you want to play position for your next shot into the line. Here's another example of that. Let's say the 8-ball is out down on the rail here, and I have that same shot. Well, this time, instead of hitting here and coming like that, I want the cue ball to hit further down the rail. So this time, I'll actually put a little low. I don't want to scratch, but I want the cue ball to come all the way down here. So instead of a stun shot, I'm just going to hit a little below center. Yeah. And I did almost scratch, but pretty close. But that little low English beat the tangent line to this side and brought the cue ball further down to you. But I know for some of you that those are kind of advanced things, but when you start playing 8-ball, they become real important. All right, one last one. This is here's a shot that, I know, Logan, you see people mess this up a lot in the league or tournaments or whatever. Now, I have 2 balls left on the table, the 7 and the 8. Now, what would be the best way to play position on the 8? From here.
Bottom left.
Why?
Because
he's right, by the way.
you're going to come here, and
Into the line of the next shot. But if I did it the way most people shoot this shot, what's happening? They'll just roll the ball like that. And I got position, but look at my margin for error. It's only very small, okay? But the way you mentioned it is so much better. And I don't need a whole lot of left, just a little, maybe a tad of it. And I'll go 2 rails, like like that and go into the line. And look at the margin for error. I have that much room to mess up. Okay. All right, any questions about that?
What do you mean by margin of error?
Okay, when I say margin for error, I have more room to mess up.
And then still make it?
Yeah, and still have a good shot on my next ball. See, the other way I played that, where I just rolled the 13 in and it came up like this. If I go short, I have a tough shot. If I go long, I have a tough shot. My margin for error is right here.
Okay, for the follow.
When I did the draw into the rail like this, my margin for error is this long. And when you're playing position, you know, that's playing the correct odds, because when you have a better odds of getting position, you're going to be a much better player.
And when you're talking about the tangent line, I mean, I
Yeah,
understand the
go ahead.
tangent line, but when you're doing different shots on it, the tangent line is different. Right? It's not really going on the tangent line.
Okay.
You have to stun it to be
That's a really good question, Kathy. And the thing is, the tangent line is only the starting point, okay? Like when I have a shot, let's say something like this. Let's say I want to get position for the 8 from the 13. And again, according to you, I go 2 rails right towards the 8. Look at the margin for error. But the tangent line is the starting point. That's what I look at first. Now I can get my finder out. You go from the object ball to the center of the pocket. And the tangent line in this shot would be a 90-degree angle coming out of it. So this is where you're going to hit if I hit a stun shot. Angle in, angle out towards the 8. Okay?
That's all the way on stun.
Yeah, but if I hit a high ball, the tangent line's no longer here. It's going to hit here and go somewhere towards that pocket. If I draw it, it's going to come way over here and maybe come to this side. But see, sometimes you want to beat the tangent, sometimes you don't. But that's where you start. Like on this shot, I think it's pretty much a stun shot. Should take me right towards the 8, toward the line of the 8. You can see, I didn't even hit it that hard, but I still have position. And so you can get very consistent at it. When you see the tangent line and you hit a good stun shot, you always know where the cue ball's going, which is the biggest, one of the biggest parts of the game. Yeah.
Is there a drill for, I mean, because there's an infinite number of scenarios that
Right,
you're showing.
right.
So is there a drill just for practicing beating the tangent line one way or the other?
Well, the one that I actually is in your handout, let me hand those out right now. I actually have some drills in here for that. Let me make sure everybody's got one. Got one, Fred? The drills are on the back.
I just don't think about it.
Here you go.
Just to figure out where the ball
Get the other one,
This one, I think I got your original.
Oh, okay. Let me get you another one. Yeah, I wish I could do it while on the corner, man. That'd be nice. Just actually, what the question you just asked, you can set up any shot at an angle and practice beating the tangent either way. All right. And again, it's going to depend totally on position. Let's say I have this shot and I got the 6 like that. Now, if I follow the tangent line and hit a stun shot, it's going to hit here. Angle in, angle out comes way down here, doesn't it? All right? But if I hit a rolling ball, the cue ball is going to hit almost by the spot. It's going to beat it to this side, which will be perfect position for the 8 ball. So again, I look at this and I see that I need to beat the tangent line with rolling follow shot. So I'm just going to hit a nice high ball like this. Like that. And when you're practicing, you know, being able to make the cue ball go on the tangent line, you look at the center of the pocket. You just kind of look over here at a 90-degree angle, going right at that diamond. Like on this one, if I stun it, it's going to come pretty deep, isn't it? Because the angle in, angle out takes me pretty much down towards this pocket. And again, I'm hitting center ball. And I just barely kept from scratching. Right? Now, if I had the 8-ball down there, that would have been a perfect shot, right? All right, let's try a different one with draw this time. Now this time, let's say, and this is kind of an interesting shot. I have the 5-ball here, and I really can't get position unless I take the cue ball all 4 rails around. So here's an actual shot where I want to beat the tangent line with draw for 1, 2, 3, 4 rails for position on the 8. This time I'm going to have to use draw and hit it with a lot of power. A little bit more draw, not quite. I wanted to hit it right there. Let's try that one more time. One more time. And this time you'll notice I'm using a lot of draw and I want to beat the tangent line. So there's an example of how you beat it one way or the other to get position. Okay? Any questions on that? That was a good question. I'm glad you're getting more interactive today. This is fun. Anything else on that? That's something that you can practice and learn your entire life. This is a game that you never master, you can only get better at, okay? All right, here's another shot I wanted to set up real quick that I think you'll find interesting. It'll also help you understand the tangent line better. This is one of the drills in your handout. We'll put the object ball in the center here, like this. Now we'll set it up at about a half ball hit on the 12. But the first thing I want you to notice is, if I hit a stun shot, where's the cue ball going to hit the rail down there, real quick? In other words, if I hit a stun shot where the cue ball is skidding to the object ball. Do you see the tangent there?
Good.
Okay. Where's the cue ball going to hit the rail down? All right.
First diamond.
The center, the middle diamond, right? Now, this is the interesting part of learning the tangent line. It really doesn't matter where I put the cue ball, does it? I can put it here, 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 but then it's still going to hit the center diamond. And let's go ahead through it, just see how it works. This time I'm just going to hit a stun shot. And pretty much it's always going to hit right around that center diamond. Now I still have the half ball hit. This time I'm going to hit a rolling ball. Who wants to point on the rail where the cue ball will hit? Because I'm going to beat the tangent to this side.
Close to the first diamond.
About the first time, we'll see where I can hit it. And this time I'm going to hit a nice, smooth, rolling ball. And Logan's pretty right on. Now, the more angle I get, the less I can beat the tangent line. The less angle, the more I can beat it. Like, I just moved the ball a little bit straighter on the 9. This time, I can probably scratch the cue ball and go even to the left side. And scratch it. less angle you have, the more you can beat the tangent. Is this? I know this is a little complicated for a lot of you, but it's really an important part about becoming a good player. Now we'll do it with a draw. I have about a half ball hit here. This time, if I hit a draw shot, I should be able to beat it by at least a diamond or more, depending on how well I stroke it. And you can see, stun shot goes here, follow goes there, draw goes here, doesn't it? And that's when you're shooting shots. If you can just master those 3 shots, you can move the cue ball to almost anywhere on the table.
Now the deflection from the tangent is a factor of how much spin you put in.
Okay, that's a great question. Speed is incredibly important, all right? But we're not throwing it in English yet, we're just throwing it raw. But one thing I can tell you is the better your stroke, the more you can beat the tangent line, which simply means if you stroke the cue ball with really good acceleration through the cue ball, you're going to get more action with the cue ball because the cue tip will stay on the cue ball longer and you'll get more response. Okay? And if you hit it too hard, that's a problem because it takes longer for the spin to take effect. Like if I hit this real hard with draw, it won't beat the tangent line as much. See how it only hit here? That's because it was going so fast, it took longer for the draw to take effect. And that's really important when you're playing position. Speed is one of the biggest factors. And I think I've said it before, we're going to get to English, but generally, it's incredible how you can do so much without English. And the more English you use, you throw in the wrench of missing balls and things like that. Now watch when you hit a draw shot with a smooth stroke, with not so hard. You'll be surprised how much more the cue ball will react. See that? That's a difference of speed from hitting it here to here. People ask, well, that's really what makes pool so hard, because you have so many variables, when you're playing pool to consider. And the more knowledge you get, the better off you're going to be. Like just knowing how speed affects draw is an incredible thing to learn. And I know for tournament players, you probably already know that to a certain extent. All right, here's one fun thing that you can do today if you like with your partner. One thing I like to do is set up any shot. It can be anywhere. Just you put it anywhere you like on the table, and then take a second ball and just throw it on the table anywhere. That's good enough. All right, and I want you to practice this one shot playing position on the 8. So what is my best way to get position from the 7 to the 8? I mean, these are fun little puzzles you can kind of play with. But how can I get position from the 7 to the 8 maybe the best way? I could stun it though, but won't it go too far if I try to stun it? Right? I could go a high ball, but won't that take a little close to the side pocket maybe? What do you think? Right. You know what? I cheated there. I put a little bit of left English because I knew I was going to scratch. And that was a case where that was the easiest shot. But actually, I did need a little English on that shot. And the left English kept it from going too far to spreading too much, right? So it allowed me to hit it right there. Want to try that again? Throw it anywhere on the table. We'll set up a different shot now to start with. Let's try. Yeah, try that one. All right, what can I do here to get from the 8 to the 4? Should I stun it? Should I follow it? Do I need to draw it? Do you see a pattern here?
Shorts.
What do you think?
Short. Just a short touch.
Yeah. But look at the cut I have. So the cue ball is going to be traveling off the 8 with a little bit of speed, isn't it? The shot that I would say is the best shot here is simply a soft stun. The tangent line takes me to the rail here, and it should bounce out real nice for 4 in the corner. And I don't have to hit this very hard. I'm just going to hit almost like a center ball. Bounce out the rail, and then I have a nice shot in the corner pocket. Try another one, just for fun. Okay, we'll put a straight in shot here this time. Just throw the 15 anywhere on the table. All right, what's the best way to get from the 10 to the 15?
English? I would top it a little bit.
Top, yeah. In fact, Logan's pretty correct, because this is not much of an angle. I could stun it over like this, but that would cross the line. If I went 1, 2 rails across the line, my margin for error would be very small. And Logan's exactly right. I want to hit a top ball and beat the tangent line to here, so the cue ball goes toward the line of the next shot. So this is no English shot, just a high ball. Just roll it down like that. You know, pretty easy. Let's do one more for the 8 ball. Let's do another straight in like that. Let's see what we got. Okay, what do you think? Hit from the 15 to the 6.
Again, I would just top it.
Okay, I could top it because it came right over here, didn't it? There's actually 2 good ways. Logan's right, the top will work real good. Let's try that first. And you can almost not go wrong, even though you're crossing the line. Another way you could do this shot, yeah, would be to go 1, 2 rails out to the center of the table. So I'm just going to hit a stun shot with maybe a hair of left English. And it would depend on the way the balls are laying to which way I would do it. Because a lot of times when you're playing 8 ball on a bar table, you've got all these obstacles you have to deal with, you know, to go around and so forth. Is this helping? Is this something you want to learn? Or? Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go to 8 ball. All right, some of you already know the rules. Now, as far as the rack goes, a lot of people spend a lot of time racking to alternate the balls and things like that. That's really not necessary. There's only 3 requirements to a rack of 8 balls. The 8 in the middle, and you have to have the wings be the opposites. 1 stripe, 1 solid of the wings. okay? But besides that, the rest of the balls can be any configuration you want. Now, as far as racking, most tournaments now and stuff, or leagues, are rack your own. So actually there's some, things you really need to know about proper racking. You'll notice when I slide the balls up to the spot like this, I use my thumbs in the back of the rack. And what's really helps to give you a tight rack is to take your thumbs and roll the balls forward like that, so they're all frozen together. The more frozen all the balls are, the greater it's going to be the result of your break. And I'm going to look kind of down to make sure the balls are all together like that. Looks pretty good. And then I'll slide it forward. Let it go. Now I feel real confident the balls are all racked together.
Did you see the spot when you wrapped it? Can you see the spot where you're putting the head ball?
Well, I've been playing for 55, 60 years. Some people can't see it though. That's why you have, some tables will have little marks to make sure. We don't have those, but the neat thing about rack your own is if you screw up the rack, you're the one that's going to, be punished, okay? All right, there's two main breaks in 8-ball. A lot of people choose to break from the wings. Now, in the international rules, this is real important, and we're going to be playing these the last day, for our tournament. If you make the 8 on the break, it's not a win. The 8-ball will just respot, okay?
You get to continue shooting.
And you do continue shooting. Now, there are a lot of people that still break from the wings anyway, but what happens when you break from the wings, a lot of times balls will hit the rail and come back and knock the 8 towards the side pocket or the corner pocket. So making the 8 from the wings is probably the biggest advantage. The disadvantage from breaking from the wings is you get clusters of balls, and it makes it more difficult to win the game.
More likely to scratch.
Yeah. Now the other break, and this is the one I've been doing lately because I feel like I get a better spread and I still make balls, so I have a better chance of running out. Now a lot of you bet you're not going to be worried about running out, you just want to make a ball.
Unless you're playing Brian Wilson.
Yeah, exactly. So I play guys like Brian Wilson all the time. I better not miss or I lose. If he misses, he's going to lose. That's the way it works, at a higher level. But I can show you both breaks, but I would prefer this one.
How far over is it?
I never break from dead center because it has a tendency to scratch in the side pockets. I put it slightly to one side or slightly to the other. Now, as far as the break itself, you want to maybe have a little bit longer bridge, a longer stroke, and a longer follow-through. All of those things I just mentioned equal power. In other words, one of the things that I try to focus on when I want to break is I want to imagine the Q-tip going all the way through the cue ball. Because too often when we want to hit it hard, we'll grip real tight on the back of the cue like that, and the Q-tip will come up in the air. You want the Q-tip to go all the way through the cue ball. That's going to keep the Q-tip on the cue ball longer and create more power.
When you're hitting that hard, do you look at the cue ball or do you look at the first ball?
Well, like most shots, I'll go back and forth. At the very end, I'll look at the 6-ball. Now, when you hit the front ball, you don't want to hit it at an angle. That would be at an angle and make the cue ball fly off all around the table. You want to hit the 6-ball as flush as you can, which means from whatever angle you're shooting it from. So the cue ball just kind of bounces back a little bit and stays somewhere in the center of the table. You hit a good break there earlier. That was good. So I'm going to try to hit it as solid as I can. And that means flush, right on the 6. So the cue ball has less movement to either side. So-
where are you gonna hit it on the cue ball?
dead center ball. Now, if you hit high ball, what's going to happen, it'll hit the rack and start rolling forward and bounce all over the table. You don't want to do that. You want the ball to act almost like a stun shot that just has rigor mortis in the middle of the table, kind of thing. So I'm going to hit it dead center, slightly to the right. I'm really going to use my pre-shot routine because I want to make sure I'm hitting it as flush as I can. Take some nice warm-up strokes. Well, I was real happy with the cue ball, although I didn't have enough power to make a shot. Yeah.
Do you have different strategy for different sized tables?
Well, on a 9-foot table, I would break it exactly the same way. But, you know, the wing break will also work on a 9-foot table for making the 8-ball and things like that. In some leagues, like AZPL, the 8-ball counts on the break, and also the other one that I can't remember the name of it right offhand. But let's just say that the 6-ball went in, just for fun. Now, you have not established your group yet because you haven't made your first called shot. In other words, you don't really establish stripes or solids until you make your first called shot. Now, you're still at the table, you made the 6-ball. Now, you can easily go ahead and shoot stripes or solids from this position because it's still an open table, all right? So let's say I've got a little bit of room here. I know that I'm kind of cheating there. Yeah.
On an open table.
Yeah.
Can you, let's say you don't have an open shot, you have to shoot a combination.
Right.
Can you hit a solid into a stripe and make the stripe and that's your ball?
Yeah. Let's set up something like that. Let's say this is your position and you really don't have any open shot except maybe the 7 or the 14. Now, if you look at this table, you know, the 2-ball is definitely out of commission. But when you have an open table, I can use a solid to make a strike. So if I call the 14 into here and I hit the 2 first, that's a good shot. Okay.
The only thing you can't do is use the 8.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'll go ahead and do that. 14 in the corner. And you notice I actually played position in these stripes here, and I have a pretty good open table. But now, from now on, after you establish your group, you have to play a legal shot on a stripe. Otherwise, what happens, Logan?
Ball in hand.
Your opponent gets ball in hand anywhere on the table. Let's just say the 7 was here, and I already have stripes. And I did something like this. I'll call 9 in the corner. Okay, I hit the 7 first, didn't I? Because I hit the 7 first and I already have stripes, my opponent will get ball in hand anywhere on the table. So once you establish your group, you have to make a legal shot. Now, a couple of other things that might happen as well during this process is you might get a position like this. Let's say you have the solids, okay? And you're playing a game of 8-ball with international rules. Well, obviously you have no shot at all. So in a case like this, you might want to call safety. All right, I'm thinking, well, where can I put the cue ball so Stripes doesn't have a good shot? And I think, well, I'll try to put him right behind the 2, and then he'll have to kick to make a good hit. So I'm going to hit that 7 real thinly, like that.
So you don't have to call it.
It's better. No, it's better to call a safety, and the reason being is you want your opponents to pretty much know what you're doing. You don't absolutely have to. I could have done that without. But a lot of people just What do they do with their neck? Yeah, that.
What does safety mean in that?
Safety means that you really have no shot, but you want to put your opponent in a really tough position. So what I did was I put the cue ball behind the tube, so it made it very difficult for the strikes.
Why do you have to call it?
You don't have to call it, but it's a good idea.
And you'll get a lot of people go safety, and all they do is hit their ball, and there's nothing safe about it at all. They're just making a legal hit.
Yeah.
They don't, because they don't know the difference between a safety and a hit.
Right.
Isn't there another safety though that you call that you can make the ball and not have to shoot again?
Well, that's another thing you
So
can
it's
actually
confusing.
do.
That's just a safety, but you make your ball.
Yeah.
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 That's
Here's
confusing
another
what you're doing.
case. Let's say you have solids. Yeah, this would be a case like that. Let's say you have solids, but all your solids are tied up like this. And you really have no potential to really do much with the rack. Well, you could call safety like this. And leave your opponent absolutely no shot. If they have strikes, they can hit the strike, but look, they really don't have anything to shoot at.
So on that one, when you call it safety, it goes to your opponent, even though you,
They don't get
Well,
ball in hand that way.
They wouldn't, they wouldn't get ball in hand, and it would be a way to just hinder your opponent, but at the same time, maybe make one of your balls. Yeah.
So with the safety, like the first one you did, you had to hit a ball before the cue ball hit the rail.
Yeah. Now let me go through that a little bit. That's kind of important. Now some people will have a shot like this. Let's say they don't have any open shots and they're solid. And they call safety here. And let's say they're going to go into the rail and hit the 4 ball. So they do something like this. Okay, that's not a legal safety, even though I hit my object ball, because you have to hit a rail after contact. After contact, you have to hit a rail. To make that a legal shot, I would have to do this. Remember, any ball can hit the rail after contact. Before hit the rail, so that was a good save there. All right, here's another thing you need to know about 8-ball. A lot of times, you'll take a wild shot, for example. Let's do it like this. You'll take a wild shot. Let's say you're going to try to make the 7 in the side. And this happens. So you made the 8 out of turn by accident. You lose the game. You make the 8 out of turn, you lose the game.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Say you're doing that shot and you're going for the, when you hit a light shot because you want to set something up. And it rolls, never touches the rail.
That would not be considered a rail. If it goes in the pocket, that's considered a rail.
So then
I think
that's
I
ball
see
in
what-
hand?
Yeah, this would be ball in hand. Let's see if I can even do that. That's kind of hard to... Yeah, that would be a foul. And if it rolled all the way up to here without touching the rail, that would be a foul. All right, a lot of times you get to a point in the game, let me get the 8 out. Let's say all the stripes are down. And you do something like this. Yeah, I'll do it like this. Let's say you're getting up to win the game and you say 8-ball in the corner. And you need to call the 8, okay? And you do this. You made the 8 and scratched. All right. You win or lose the game?
Lose.
You lose, yeah. Okay. So what would happen if I did this? And don't worry about remembering all this, because we'll have plenty of time to go over this. And when we have our tournament on the last day, you know, we'll be coaching you about different rules and things like that. Let's say I did something like this, though. I'll call the 8 in the corner, and I missed the 8 and scratched. Do I lose?
Ball in hand,
Okay.
solids.
Right. My opponent, I don't lose the game in that case. My opponent gets ball in hand anywhere on the table. So the rules are a little bit different. And, you know, the reason why they changed the rules to ball in hand all over the table, I can kind of explain that to you. In the old days, let's say you had stripes. Let's put the balls like this. No, let's say you had solids. And in the old days, you would get ball in hand in the kitchen, right? So what some people would do is this. They wouldn't even call a shot. They'd scratch on purpose in the corner pocket. This used to happen. Now, the reason they would do that is because their opponent now gets ball in hand anywhere in the kitchen. But look, he has to kick for his 8 ball. So in those old days, he would have to go down the rail, come back, and hit the 8. So that's why they changed the rules to ball in hand anywhere on the table. Okay? Anything else?
I have a question back to the break. The grip in the breaking, because you said the normal grip is like holding a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So when you're breaking, you let that in.
No, I would still keep a nice loose grip because the looser the grip, it's like a whiplash. You know, you swing back and really let it go. You want the cue stick to go as far through the ball as it can, naturally. So you don't want to grip tight. If you grip tight, it shortens the follow through and decreases the amount of power. Even on a draw shot, that's true. Because a lot of people try to overpower draw shots. But on a good draw shot, if you just let the cue do the work, nice, smooth release through the ball, with almost no effort, you can make the cue ball dance because I didn't force it. I let the cue release through naturally. So sometimes we think of pool and we think of muscles and power. It's timing and it's stroking. That's what will make you a better player. All right, any other questions? I had a couple of game-winning shots in the handout I wanted to show you real quick.
There's the break.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're hitting it, say, close to the center line there. Do you have a goal of which balls you're trying to gain?
On the break shot?
Break.
Okay. That's a more advanced question, but there are actually some balls that are more likely to go than others. But to be honest with you, Cliff, you really don't have that much control of making certain balls on the break. But I will tell you that the balls that are most likely to go in. Let's rack it right. 8 in the middle, stripe in the solid, and the wings. The 4 and the 12, the balls behind the head ball, often go in the side pockets, especially when you're breaking generally from the center. Another ball that will often go is one of the corner balls will go 1, 2, 3, 4 rails back into the corner pocket. That's another common one. But generally, breaks are random and they're just banging together, and hopefully you'll make a ball. But if you hit it real solid on the head ball, the 4 and the 12 will generally go towards the side pockets. And sometimes even the 1 will go towards the side pocket or go down in the corner, like that, depending on how you hit it. All right, does that answer your question?
Yes.
But I wouldn't worry about that too much. That's okay, here's a shot that comes up. It's in your handout. You know, a lot of times when you're playing 8-ball, you can't shoot the combination because you've already established solids. Well, in your handout, there's a way to make this four ball in the corner pocket, I'm simply going to imagine a ghost ball to make a four. I couldn't do this in a real game, but I want to take a 9 ball just to show you how it's done and put it where it would be to make the 4 ball in the corner. Then I'll take the center of that 9 ball to the rail and double it to here, and then turn my finger towards the cue ball. So in this system, if I hit that part of the rail or aim right at this diamond, I should make a 4. So I'm generally just going to put a little bit of maybe right English in towards the 4. I hit it a little thin. Let's try that again. Okay, center of the ghost ball to the rail, double it to here. And every table is going to be a little different. Some are sharper off the rails, some are, you know, that's really what you got to deal with in pool, because every table, large, small, rails, humidity, all make a big difference.
Final score.
Oh yeah, they're terrible, aren't they? Here's another shot that I think is another, I would call a game-winning shot. It happens all the time. Something like this. Let's say you were, you want to win the game and you want to make the 8 ball in the corner pocket. Well, this is a game-winning shot that some people don't see. You know, Logan would see it, you know, a lot of people here. But generally, all I have to do is carom the 8 ball off the 15 into the corner pocket. And when I say carom it off the 15, it just means where's the tangent, so when the 8 hits the 15, it'll take it into the center of the pocket. So the middle of the tangent line would be right there to the center of the pocket. So that's the spot on the 15 I want to hit to make it. It's called a carom shot. So I'm just going to hit it with a nice smooth stroke. Like that. But those shots come up all over the table. Like you can see one like this. Let's say I have solids here, and I can't really make the one on the side, but if I play it off the 9, I just see where my tangent line is to the center of the side pocket. I'll shoot the 1 right off that line.
And if you miss, your player is still bamboozled by the time he gets up to shoot, going, what the hell was that? I was almost made it. How did he do it? He misses his shot.
Yeah, and that
it's a
shot there is a very simple shot, but you need to know those shots and be able to see them.
But is it legal to have the 8 ball hit off of the strike?
As long as you hit the 8 ball first, you're good.
And that's another thing in this is you got to call your, and you got to verbally do it, call your pocket.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how it gets there. It doesn't matter what it hits. As long as you hit your object ball first and your ball goes in the pocket, you call. You don't have to call 6 caroms. You don't have to call all that stuff.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier. And one thing I did want to also mention is that we have a thing in league. I don't know if people use this term anymore, but they're called, let's say, gentle person rules. And generally all that means is that, you know, if you're shooting an obvious shot, you'll notice this, Logan, a lot of people don't call it. They might point to it or something like that. But if you have a real obvious shot like this, you know, it's kind of like gentleman rules that, you know, you don't really need to call that. But if you have a carom or a bank or a combination or anything that's in question, you absolutely have to call it. Unless it's, you know, a very obvious shot.
Because it will become a point of contention.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So if you're going to call the carom shot, the 8 ball off of, say, the 15 into the corner, and it doesn't actually hit the 15 that goes in, that's not illegal?
Oh, it's still legal.
Call pocket.
You don't have to call kisses, caroms, or banks or anything. In fact, I've seen this happen. Believe it or not, it is not that unusual. I've seen somebody shoot the 8-ball and miss it so bad that their cue ball went 1, 2, 3, 4 back in the correct pocket. Have you ever seen that? Anyway, as long as the ball goes in the pocket you call, it's good.
So Peter, you're saying ball in pocket.
Yeah,
That's all you gotta call.
That's all you gotta call. Yeah.
So you don't have to call the carrier.
Oh, you need the keys?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I had it right here.
Yeah, I'm like, I cannot find the keys that could make it open.
I'm sorry.
You're
Should have hit me in the head or something. All right, next week, that's enough for today. I want you to think about this shot, though. We're going to do combinations next week. Now, just to give you a little preview, you'll notice that if I could get you to stand behind the pocket a little bit here, real quick. Now, Logan, you'll attest to the fact that the 11 ball is going to hit the rail right here, right?
If you shoot it straight.
Yeah. Now, if I hit the 14 ball straight on, pretty much straight, I'm going to miss that shot every time. But I did want you to notice that these shots are makeable. In other words, you'll notice that the 11's going to miss the pocket by probably about, 3 or 4 inches. But if I hit it on the right side of the frozen combination, it threw right in the middle of the pocket. And you notice I didn't hit it that hard. But what I want you to show you, and you can play with for a while today if you want, is that if you have 2 balls that are frozen together and you hit, say, this side of the 14, it turns the 14 from right to left, doesn't it? Which throws the 5 ball to the left. If I hit this side of the frozen combination, it turns the 14 from left to right, which throws the 5 to the right. So whichever side you hit of the 2 balls, it throws it the opposite way. So it's kind of a fun thing. And if you want me to ask me about this today, I'll be glad to show you a little more on that. But next week, we're going to really get into combinations. We're going to talk about when there's distance between, how to line up a combination and things like that. Okay? All right, have at it. I'll be around. Oh, by the way, Chuck is really ill today, so he couldn't make it.
In the other gentleman type rule, the gentlewoman type rule, if you do scratch, if you do scratch, pick up the ball and hand it to your opponent, slide it to your opponent. Nothing's worse than knowing he scratches and then the guy just walks away and makes you guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, a ball in hand can be like that, too.
That's what I'm saying, ball.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So a clarification
Yeah.
on, because I would always say, well, if I hit the opponent's ball along the way, getting it in, it's a foul.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It is a
It's,
ball.
but I mean, if you hit your ball first,
Then it's okay.
and then you hit the opponent's ball.
That's fine.
Oh, okay. I was told it was always.
In fact, if
on
you
the
hit
way.
your ball first and the 8 hits the rail, that's still a legal shot. Any ball can hit the rail after contact.
As long as you hit your ball.
Yeah. Once you've established the group.
Right.
If it's open table, it's different.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I was foul. You hit other balls. Okay.